Browns began their first OTA session yesterday with the most notable absence from voluntary workouts being Myles Garrett. Apparently, if you look at his Instagram, he's in Japan. All the focus, though, is on the quarterback battle. It's very, very crowded there. Here's Kevin Stefanski.
We're mixing it up every single day, so that's why I tell you not to read much into it, even though you guys don't listen to me. But we're just trying to get guys exposure to different concepts, those type of things. So we're not leaning into or worried about the order at this moment.
Because it's a good question to bait somebody into answering, and no matter how they answer it, it kind of makes the guy that's answering it look bad. If I say I don't want to be a mentor, I look bad. If I say I do want to be a mentor, then I look like an idiot that doesn't care about being good and playing football. I tend to try to be honest, and I've said I'm not a mentor. I play football. There's learning experiences, and I have a lot of experience, and I can talk on things, and hopefully they listen. But it's not necessarily like my job to like make sure they listen to me. And
you gotta appreciate his honesty there, Bug. I mean, really.
I love it.
You got Flacco, you got Pickett, you got Gabriel, you got Sanders. I mean, what do you make of this crowded room, Bug?
They got a lot of misfit toys in that room, and I get it. First of all, I love the honesty from Joe Flacco. His job is not to be the role model, the mentor. It's to come in there and be the veteran quarterback and try to bring some stability to their room. As far as the room in general, like Deshaun Watson, 2 Achilles surgeries, Flacco, Kenny Pickett with the 2 gloves. Then you got the 2 rookies coming in with Sanders and Gabriel. I don't know what we're going to get from them. I don't think anybody with any sense knows what you're going to get from that room. I suspect at some point it's going to be Flacco or Kenny Pickett trying to figure out who's going to start, and then they're going to figure out with the young guys. I don't think Watson is going to be ready coming off not just 1, but 2 Achilles surgeries. So at some point, Lewis, like if you're really going to be honest about this room, they really don't know what they have in this room right now, and they got to hope that somebody steps forward, whether it's a young guy or one of the veterans that they have.
Look, it's really going to be all about rep efficiency, right? As a player, that's what you're looking for. As a coach, that's what you're looking for. Meaning, look, everyone's not going to get equal reps. Everyone's not going to get the same amount of reps, exposed to the same looks, get the same number of throws in each period, whether it be first down, second down, third down, red area 2-minute. But it's about the efficiency. It's about having as close to perfect reps as possible. And then it's up to Kevin Stefanski. And then I think it's important for Kevin Stefanski to move this around from day to day, from practice to practice, to make sure, as he just said, make sure all these guys, though, are exposed to the situations that he needs to expose them to, so he can then make a real organic decision about who's the best guy, so it's truly a meritocracy. You want to make sure that in the end is what comes out of this, and that you're not stacking the deck in one guy's favor over another, which we've seen coaches do now because they're human beings, and they want certain guys to excel based upon their own convictions going into it. And we've seen that mess things up in the history, and we'll see it mess things up going forward.
I think it's so interesting what you're saying, because I remember covering the Seahawks in 2012 up at that training camp up in Renton, Washington, and they had the late Tavares Jackson in camp. You had Matt Flynn, who just signed a massive free agent deal, and in comes the 3rd round Russell Wilson, and he was bar none the best player. And then the preseason starts, and he's throwing touchdowns all over the Cowboys. And to a man, you couldn't look around to anyone covering the team or anyone within the organization and say anything than, hey, our 3rd round rookie's the best quarterback we got. He started in week 1. It's really difficult for a day 3 quarterback to start out of the gate. Mm-hmm. But with the current situation, and you have a Joe Flacco who has been there, done that, and has been there, done that with this team, and you have Kenny Pickett, who was a backup last year, and you have Dylan Gabriel, who no one else really saw as a day 1 or day 2 pick other than the Cleveland Browns, there is a window. But for Shedeur to have that opportunity, he has to outwork and outplay those guys every single day, because the uphill battle of being a day 3 pick, that is real. Yet I think there is a window open, and in other situations where there's a bona fide starting quarterback, there wouldn't be. So there is an opportunity for Shedeur to win this job.
Yeah, and you bring up the Wilson comparison, maybe the guy nobody saw coming, and then in no time he brought them to their first Super Bowl championship. That was quite a story. A rookie season for the ages. The first rookie in NFL history to throw for 3,500 yards and rush for 800. His total QBR was the 3rd highest by a rookie since the metric was introduced. He became the 6th rookie to start a conference championship game. And the Commanders scored 30 points no less than 7 times with him under center, the most with a single rookie quarterback in NFL history. He was asked today how he's getting ready for year 2 in Washington.
Got to go out there and prove myself each and every day. Like, no matter if it was last season, this season, or, 10, 20 years down the road, you got to prove yourself each and every season.
There is no flinch in Jayden Daniels. He is an absolute, as focused and relentless as you could about getting better. There's a lot of things that, he and the rest of us are really digging in hard on to say, all right, can we get this better? And if he does that, I do that, others do that. Like, we thought collectively, and there's a lot of space we can get better at.
Well, Louis Riddick has loved Jayden Daniels a long, long time, since way before the draft, and we can all see why. But it is not uncommon, and we talked about C.J. Stroud with Boog just moments ago, for quarterbacks to take a regression in year 2 for any number of reasons. So how can Daniels avoid those pitfalls?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, Hannah, look, Jayden Daniels himself is the last of my worries. He's the least of my worries. I'm not worried about him at all, and I think Dan Quinn already just really expressed that. So when you're talking about why do quarterbacks regress, a lot of times it's about things that surround them. First and foremost, it's about keeping people healthy around him. So meaning keeping the roster intact and making sure that the guys are available for 16, 17 games, and then improving upon those players that are surrounding him. And Adam Peters went out and did that. Look what they did on the offensive line, with getting Larry Tunsil, with drafting Josh Connerly, with drafting Jalen Lane, with bringing in Deebo Samuel. I mean, that's just knocking it out the park. And on the defensive side as well, they added players like Trey Amos, who's going to wind up being a shutdown corner for them. So the team got better. And then, really lastly, keeping the coaching staff intact, keeping the people who are in his ear primarily every single day in the meeting rooms, on the headset. And I'm pointing right at Cliff Kingsbury. He's still there. So that, to me, if you can keep those 3 things in order, look, he's going to do his part. But as long as you keep all that stuff in order around him, I think it's up and away even further, and he takes off and builds off of one of the best rookie seasons we've ever seen.